Merry Christmas and welcome back to Nativity for January the 1st, the 8th day in the octave of Christmas, as well as the solemnity of the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Mother of God. As we find ourselves today with the Blessed Mother, let's just imagine what's been going on in her heart over the last 9 months. The Annunciation, the Visitation, Joseph's decision to divorce her quietly, and then Joseph's decision to marry her. Then there's the census and the surprise pilgrimage to Bethlehem. Just imagine what's in her heart as they arrive in Bethlehem and there's no room for them, or more appropriately, they're just not wanted in Bethlehem. And then, of course, he is born. The Savior of the world is born to her. The long-awaited, promised Messiah is born through her. Tired, hungry, and alone with her dear husband, Mary holds an infant, yet at the same time holds God Himself. Over the last 9 months of her life, extraordinary events have been painted on the canvas of extraordinary emotion, joy, fear, known, unknown, absolute certainty, absolute poverty. Mary has experienced much in her heart over these past few months. And then all of a sudden the shepherds visit. The quiet intimacy of Joseph embracing Mary as she holds the infant is transformed as strangers enter the cave. The shepherds glorify God and make known the message that had been told them about this child. That comes from Luke chapter 2, verse 17. And it says later in Luke 2:18 that all who heard it were amazed, for inexpressible joy overtakes them all. Soon enough, after the visit, the shepherds themselves depart from the cave, and after Mary and Joseph celebrate the visit, once again, things still into silence. And Mary begins to reflect upon all these things in her heart. With all that emotion, with all the extraordinary events, in the end, Mary goes to God. Luke 2, verse 19 says that Mary kept all these things, reflecting on them in her heart. No doubt Mary was accustomed to intimate conversation with God, reflecting on things in her heart. In fact, the church celebrates Mary being presented to the temple as a young girl, especially as we celebrate the presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary, celebrated every November 21st. Essentially, Mary would have been brought to the temple as a young girl. In fact, the Old Testament book of Numbers, chapter 30, 4-6, outlines prescriptions for a Jewish woman vowed to perpetual virginity and complete consecration to the Lord. As consecrated to God, Mary's whole life was for God. Her whole heart was for God. More than likely, Mary would have stayed at the temple until she was 12, 13, 14 years old, and then she would have returned home to live with her parents. But while in the temple, Mary would have grown in wisdom. She would have been formed in the traditions of Judaism and schooled in the art of prayer. Mary, because of the way she grew up, learned at an early age that with all matters of the heart, she was to go to God. Therefore, it shouldn't surprise any of us that Mary kept all these things, reflecting on them in her heart. Mary knew where to go with all things of her heart. She would go to God. She would share her feelings. She would release her questions. She would wait on the Lord's response. Mary would go to God. Likewise, I think every one of us needs to ask ourselves, where do we go? When there's joy, where do you go? When you've been blessed, where do you go? When life throws you a curveball, where do you go? When you're struggling, where do you go? When you're lonely, where do you go? I think a lot of us guys turn within because we try to figure things out. In other words, when the going gets tough, a lot of men turn to their heads trying to figure out a solution. I think a lot of women desire to express their hearts, but unfortunately, many women know too well the feeling of not being received or heard. Thus, many women may turn within more out of feeling alone rather than anything else. So I want to say Merry Christmas. Again today, a Merry Christmas. That angel said, "Do not be afraid, for behold, I proclaim to you good news of great joy that will be for all people." That means that's for you and for me. When Jesus was born into the world, we now have a place to go. We can go to Him. We can go to Jesus. We can go to the Father as Jesus has revealed Him. We can go to the Spirit as promised by God. Merry Christmas. You can go to God. With everything in your heart, you can no longer turn within, trying to figure things out or afraid to be alone. You can go to God. And Mary, she's our model. She's not only the mother of God, but she's our model. And that's what we celebrate today. Where do you go with the things that are deep inside your heart? What's your pattern? Do you go to yourself, or maybe to the world, or do you go to the Lord? Today, stay with Mary. Imagine her in that cave in Bethlehem, just as the shepherds left, and Joseph kind of drifts off into sleep, and she's there with that baby holding him. Go to her. Look in her eye. Tell her everything that's in your heart. Again, on the website today, just a few psalms that Mary perhaps would have prayed as she was holding her own baby, the Savior of the world. Ask yourself today, where do you go with the things of your heart? And then pray with me. Father, I thank you today for the gift of Jesus Christ. Give me the grace that I need to go to you with everything in my life. God bless you.